All right, working on this 2012 Equinox 2.4, just wrapping up a timing chain, water pump, balance shaft chain job. Basically just did a complete timing job on it, and I really just want to give you guys kind of my thoughts on doing these jobs and my experience with doing these jobs. There's plenty of information on how to time these and how to replace the parts. So that's not what I'm going to do here. What I'm going to do is talk about kind of the components and what I would recommend replacing. So initially on these engines, you've seen a lot where the solenoids themselves would fail, the screens would plug up. As years have gone on, it seems like every time I have a solenoid code one, the timing chains are stretched, this upper guide will be broke, the front guide will be broke, and it needs a complete timing job. Now, initially I used to go through and just replace the timing chain, all the guides, the tensioners, the balance shaft chain down there, and the sprockets, and reuse the phasers themselves. Well, here lately, I had 2 in a row that had bad phasers. So from that point on, I've really inspected these phasers, and honestly, 9 out of 10 times, they're gonna need replaced. When you got one of these things with 120, 115,000 miles on them, it's time to just replace the phasers while you're there. You're saving yourself so much of a headache. And even if yours are good, how much longer are they gonna last? So that's my thoughts there. I'll show you guys kind of the kits that I use. So this is the Koi's kit that comes with everything as far as the main timing chain goes. So you'll have kind of everything you see here, the phasers, the chain, the guide, the tensioners, the bolts, pretty much everything you need on the timing side of things. Now, one thing you do want to be careful of is on these 2.4s, some of them run the same phasers on both intake and exhaust cam, and others will have a different part number on intake and exhaust. So I always verify that what I removed, so like this one is the same part number on both of them, is the same as what I'm reinstalling, the same part number on both of them. And I did verify that. So these ones are also the same part number. I did run into an issue where I never installed it. I checked it, thankfully, where one of these kits was boxed wrong, and it was supposed to be the same of both, and what I removed was the same, but it was boxed wrong, and they were opposite, so there was 2 different part numbers. It definitely would have been an issue, so luckily we caught that. Now, on the balance shaft side of things, so balance shaft chain is basically what runs the balance shafts and the water pump. You're going to want to get this kit here that includes kind of everything in this box. Again, your lower sprocket, the tensioner, the 2 balance shaft sprockets, and all your guides. Now, I can say normally I always run the Koi's stuff, but the Koi's balance shaft kit was on back order from our local supplier, so I ended up having to go to AutoZone, and this is a SA gear kit. So I've used them before. They do work pretty well, so it'll be just fine there. The other thing is, while you're here, it's a good time to replace the water pump. The water pump is driven by that balance shaft chain, so I always go ahead and put a water pump in them if the water pump hasn't been recently replaced, and this one hadn't, so it was time to go ahead and do the water pump at the same time. So just wanted to show you guys that stuff. Like I said, you're going to save yourself a lot of time and headache to just go ahead and do the complete kits. Now, the timing chain kit itself with everything is about, I'm gonna say it's right around like $380, and then the balance shaft kit is right around like $110. So you're gonna have about $500 in parts there, plus your gaskets and your fluids and all that stuff. So under $600, you'll have all the parts you need, right in that range. But yeah, that's really what I would recommend. You're going to save yourself, like I said, a lot of time and headache to just go through and replace it all and be done with it. The other thing is a lot of people remove either the exhaust manifold. Let me think. Yeah, normally they'll remove the exhaust manifold to get to the water pump. What I do is I just take the heat shield off, and there's 3 bolts underneath that heat shield, and then you have a bracket underneath that holds the catalytic converter. Remove that bracket, take those bolts out, and just lower the converter about 4 inches, and you can get the water pump in and out through the top right here. So you don't have to remove the exhaust manifold or mess with any of that. That definitely saves some time, and that did work in the Malibus as well. I've done the same thing in the Malibus. So yeah, I think that'll be it. I really just want to show you guys kind of some of the components and some of the things to watch out for. Make sure all your parts that you are replacing are the exact same as what you've got to replace them. And just make sure you go through, replace the balance shaft chain, that tensioner, your water pump if it hasn't been replaced, and just kind of go through and do a thorough job the first time. I've seen a lot of people, and I've actually had this, where someone puts a timing chain on one of these and they don't replace all the components, and they bring it to us for us to go through it and fix it. So like I said, do it right the first time, save yourself a lot of headache. There has been a lot of different revisions on the tensioners, so kind of look out for that. But Koi's does a really good job of keeping the newest components available, so that's one thing you don't have to worry about there. All right, don't forget to like and subscribe.